Okay, so why don't we talk about why we should learn a foreign language this time? Is it okay?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you so much. Did you try to say something?
Let's hear your thoughts on it first.
Okay, so I don't think everyone needs to learn English in Japan because not everyone uses English. But if you want more options in life, you should learn English. So I prepared 3 reasons. So let me talk briefly about the current situation in Japan, and then I talk about one of the reasons why it would be better to learn English. Okay. Japan has a declining birth rate and an aging population, and the value of the Japanese yen has also declined recently. So, all things considered, I think the Japanese economy has been getting worse recently. In this situation, if you can speak English, you can think about getting a job in a foreign country or moving to another country. So this is the current situation in Japan, and let me talk about some of the benefits that I have gained from learning English. I'm going to talk about one of the 3 reasons for now. So the first reason is that understanding English increases the amount of content you can enjoy. When I was in university, I thought I want to be able to enjoy YouTube and movies without subtitles. But at that time, my English was terrible and I couldn't enjoy movies and YouTube videos. For example, when I was in university, one of the content I liked was like videos about pranks, but these videos didn't have subtitles, so I couldn't fully enjoy the content. But you're a native English speaker, so you can understand English, you can enjoy this type of content, right? But Japanese people can't understand English usually, so we cannot enjoy this content if these videos don't have subtitles. So I think this is one of the reasons. In your case, you have been studying Russian and Spanish, right? So yeah, go ahead.
For me, it's more so about building connections with other people who you may not have had the opportunity to build connections with. For instance, a couple of my friends, I actually met them because they were learning English and I was learning Spanish. And so we were talking on an app called Tandem. And it's like a language learning app where you like do an exchange with native speakers. And basically just by me learning Spanish and them learning English, I was able to like make new friends. And then on top of that, not only did you make new friends, but you also learn more about other people's culture in different countries. And then in return, it kind of encourages you to like travel to these countries because then you kind of grow connected to these places and then you speak the language, so it makes it easier to travel to. So I think that's like the main thing for me is like building like relationships with friends, learning new cultures, and then having extra opportunities to travel to these places. So that's like my main point. You kind of said the online media as well. Like music is a huge one. Like obviously English is one of like the leading music industries in the world. So like, yeah, learning English would like definitely help. If you're into music, you can learn English if you're super into music and want to understand the lyrics to songs. For me, I really enjoy listening to Spanish music. So sometimes just to practice languages, and wanting to understand what some of the songs mean, I'll like kind of go through each sentence of the songs and kind of translate it. Yeah, those are kind of my main ones. I think also it provides extra job opportunities.
Yeah.
And like in certain countries, you actually get paid more when you speak another language. If you want to take it even further than that, like being a translator and as a job, like an actual person who does translations for people as a profession, they make so much money. It's hard to get into, but the amount of money they make is a lot. And it's like a lot in like all of the countries. It's a really high paying profession. I'm not good enough to do that, but like it would be very cool to do that. Culture, people, yeah, movies, totally. Like anime, I would really love to learn Japanese so that I could understand anime without subtitles. I don't know, those are my main ones. Do you have any other ones?
Actually, what you said was what I was going to talk about. So job and, friends and like boyfriend or girlfriend. I was going to talk about these too.
Those are definitely good points. Just trying to think if there's any other ones. There's obviously so many benefits. Also, it just like gives you something to do. Sometimes, you don't want to be just watching TV like 24 hours a day. It's not good for your head. And science shows that like basically you always want to be learning something. Like it doesn't have to be a language. It could be like just learning about new knowledge, but the more things you learn and take into your brain, the more healthy you kind of are in a way. You don't want your brain to be stagnant. The more you learn, the better it is in general. So I think learning a language is like a very good healthy filler to get people off of like social media as much, maybe from sitting and watching TV all the time. That being said, a lot of learning languages, you use social media as well. There's definitely ways to like utilize it. Like I have Instagram reels, and like sometimes my reels are all in Spanish now. I don't know why, but all of my liked videos are all in Spanish. So now I'm just scrolling through Instagram and half of it's in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm studying now.
I think that's because you have been watching that kind of videos.
So yeah.
The algorithm of Instagram recommends you that kind of video, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. But the issue is the videos that I like, they're all like they're Spanish, but they're easier to understand. Like it's easier Spanish reels. But because I liked the easier ones, the algorithm doesn't understand between like hard Spanish and easy Spanish. So now they'll send me reels of like really fast speaking Spanish, like big sentences compared to like my like two-liners. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand. But then I rewatch it and then I send it to my friends who speak Spanish, and then they help me, and then I kind of learn. But yeah. So I think it kind of helps with like social media, but also it helps getting you off of social media and just like once you're out of school, it's kind of cool to still be learning about something. Once I graduated university, I felt honestly like I was getting dumber because I wasn't learning anything. I graduated university and then all I did was like work and I watched TV, and like that was it. I wasn't like learning anything. And I felt like my brain was just going like down. So then as soon as I started learning languages, I felt way better mentally. Like my brain was like,
Okay.
yeah. So
Maybe learning a language is a good thing in terms of like boosting your health, boosting your motivation. Maybe.
I think so. It definitely develops like certain parts of your brain. I can't remember which part of your brain, but learning language develops a certain part of your brain, and learning music actually develops a different part of your brain. And there are two different parts of your brains that actually can like, yeah, it's really cool.
I think I've heard of it too. Yeah, when you get older, some people go dementia. But if you are like bilingual or trilingual, I mean, if you can speak a couple of languages, then the likelihood of dementia decreases, maybe, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of them actually still, even though they have dementia, a lot of them actually still remember how to speak those languages just because it's in a different section of your brain. Same with music. They'll like forget certain things, but then you put a piano in front of them and they just play. It's just a different part of your brain. It's really interesting, actually. But I also think it's good to learn a language when you're younger. It's a lot easier to retain when you're younger. So if like you're young, you're still a kid or an adolescent, like it's a lot easier to remember a language. So
Definitely.
I also think it's a good way to like, if you have like family from a different culture, for instance, my family is like their background's Italian. None of them really speak Italian in like Canada, the ones that live here, but my relatives in Italy, they speak Italian. I think it'd be cool for like families to pass on their language to their kids. And then it just helps with culture too. Like I would love to learn Italian because that's like my literal background. And like it would be really cool to be able to speak it and understand more about like my actual background. But yeah, families in Canada, some do, some don't. Like people from India, they're pretty good with like teaching their children Punjabi. But like outside of that, actually, like a lot of cultures here don't really teach their kids. It depends on the families, but a lot of them, like I have some friends who are from like Filipino background, which usually they're very good at teaching their kids as well. But the friends that I have, their parents didn't pass on the language. Same with a couple of my Russian friends. Their parents didn't teach them Russian. They only know how to like read it. They don't know how to speak it. So I think it's cool to like, if you're like an adult and you have a kid or something, to pass on the language because then it helps build culture as well.
Yeah, I think it depends on the family.
Totally.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so is it okay to talk about the second reason? You've already talked about this, but the second reason is that I use English at work. So you mentioned work. I create posts on Twitter, make YouTube videos from my own website and from my own business called English Teaching and English Coaching. What did I say? English Coaching and English Teaching. I think that's what I said. But anyways, if you want to use English at work, you should definitely learn English. That's what I wanted to say.
That's super good. That's actually a really good point. I actually ran into a situation the other day where there was a worker, and I'm so glad he's learning English. But even if you don't speak the language perfectly, like if you live in like a foreign country, even if you don't speak English perfectly, it's good to still like find a job because then you get to practice English at the job as well. Like I went to an eye appointment the other day, and there was a young man. He was helping me. He was trying very, very hard at English, speaking to me. I couldn't really understand him, and I felt really bad, but he still kept trying. And then another lady came with him, and then she like helped a little bit. And then eventually we figured it out. But even if you don't speak English well, like getting a job in like a foreign country or whatever, you'll learn the language so much faster because people's willing to help you. And for the most part, people's like very patient for the most part. It just depends where I guess you are. But usually people are understanding when you're learning a language. And some places pay more if you speak English too.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
I just bought a bunch of yen today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why? Today?
because I'm planning on going there. Let me see what the conversion is. I'm just converting it now. It comes in on Friday. I'm gonna buy more at the end of the month, but I bought this today and it comes in yen. So
Oh, okay.
it's a start. It's a start. It'd be like for like 2 weeks maybe. I'd like to
Yeah.
buy more. Yeah.
171,972 yen. I think this is enough
For 2
because you
weeks.
said 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of things. This is enough.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
That's good.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, if you have 1,000 yen, I think you can enjoy lunch. If you have 2,000 yen, you can like buy dinner. But anyway, 1,000 yen is about $6, I think, $6 or $7. Anyway,
Okay.
it's so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. So I still will probably buy more just because I don't know how expensive accommodations are. Like for food and everything else, it'll cover. But like if I want to stay like an Airbnb or like somewhere that's not a capsule, I'll probably need a little bit more money. Or if I want to stay for 3 weeks, because I think if I go to Japan, I would want to stay for 3 weeks.
Ah, okay.
So I think I do need a little bit more, but it's a start. It's a start. I had some extra money this month, so I was like, I should get something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I am coming down. I will be there and we will meet.
I'm
I just don't
excited
know
to
when.
meet you.
Hopefully, yeah, same here. It'd be cool. Hopefully, yeah, within next year. It'll probably be next year. Maybe this year, but probably next year.
Probably next year. Okay, I'm looking
Probably.
forward to meeting you.
Yeah, that would be super, super cool.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I'll show you around Tokyo.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I'm very excited. I've been wanting to go to Japan for a long time. So this was my first step to come for my trip was to buy some money now.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
feel bad though because like I feel bad because like for me it's cheap, but like it's almost like taking advantage of the system. You know, like it is taking advantage of the system, and I know that, but I do feel bad about it. But I think that's the only way like Japan's gonna raise their currency though, because other people has to buy into it. If they don't buy into it, then it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I
you
mean?
should, yeah, kind of. I think you can take advantage of this opportunity. So I think
Yeah.
you should use it right now.
Yeah, for sure. Before because it's gonna go back up for sure. But why do you think the yen is so low right now? Like, there's got to be some strategy to it.
Strategy.
Because, like, I was looking online and it was saying by decreasing like the yen, it encourages more people like to buy into the yen, but also buy more exports from Japan and in turn bring more people to Japan. So like I'm just curious if like by lowering the yen currency, if there was a strategy to it. Because I mean, the lower the yen, the more people's buying into it now, but also because it's cheap, more people's going there, which is giving more money to the country. And because more of the exports are cheaper, more foreign countries are buying from Japan. So I feel like it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's good and bad to it. It's interesting.
Actually, I don't know about like strategy, but I'm sure that, but I feel like the Japanese economy is getting worse for sure.
Yeah.
Because if Japanese people try to go to a foreign country, everything is expensive. For
For sure.
example, I think if Japanese people go to the States, everything is expensive. So just, buying lunch or dinner, that's super expensive. For Japanese people, it's pretty difficult to travel abroad right now. So I think I don't like it because I like traveling.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's fair. Yeah, I can see that for sure. It's crazy how much it dropped in a year though. Because I was looking,
Yeah.
I was looking on Google
Mhm.
and I was looking at how much it was going up and going down. It was up pretty high last January, and then all of a sudden from January, it went from here to like here. So I have no idea what happened. Like something must have happened in Japan for it to go from here to like just dropped. So it'd be interesting to like do some research on it. I think that would be a very interesting topic to figure out why like it hit so low. Yeah.
I think this trend is going to continue for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Japanese government can do to
Mm.
solve this situation, but I don't know much about economy, but I think this continues. And then I think, like I said earlier, the number of people, the population of Japan has been decreasing and the economy has been getting worse. So I think this trend continues and
Yeah.
Japan will get worse among Asia and
Yeah.
around the world. This is sad though, but I think this is
Super sad.
inevitable.
That's true. Well, you guys also I heard you guys have really low interest rates. Like I heard your interest rates are like, this could be so wrong, but I heard the interest rates were like 0.01 or like 0.1% interest rates.
Mhm.
Whereas like in USA, like I think that's part of it is because the government's not increasing the interest rates. Because like in the USA, like interest rates are like 5 to like 10%. So that makes a huge, huge difference when the government's charging people 5 to 10% interest on everything. And your government's only charging like 0.1%. It's good for you guys, but not good for the economy in general. So it's like not, yeah. I think that's a huge issue too, at least in my eyes. I did some research on this earlier.
You know a lot of things about Japan. Interest rates. Actually, I don't know anything about interest rates, so I can't speak
You
on it.
probably, now that we talked about it, you're probably gonna hear about it at some point within the next couple of weeks, because
Okay.
we started hearing about a little bit more about Japan and the things that are going on there. I've seen some articles online and then I started doing some research. It's very interesting. But yeah, interest rates I think plays a huge part in it. But yeah, that was a fun conversation today. I liked that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your information. I learned a lot of things.
Oh, good. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so
And I will
much.
see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. Thank you. 現在、英語コーチングの生徒さんを募集しています。英語学習を頑張っているけど継続することが難しい。英語力が伸び悩んでいる。TOEIC のスコアが頭打ちしている。ぜひこのような方は無料カウンセリングへどうぞ。下の概要欄から申し込むことができます。ぜひ無料カウンセリングでお会いしましょう。